So you said this is the guy that initially set you up?
Yeah. Eventually, he was the one.
How far into this shit did you get before he set you up? Like, how long were you working with him?
I was doing the counterfeiting thing for about 2 years. I think he came in the picture probably the last, I want to say 6-8 months. Like, we had a good, so like I said, the Bible paper thing, it was hard to come by. So after going to bookstores and all that, so I went to a hotel one day and went in the end table to get the Bible to, get a couple pieces of paper out of it or whatever. And there wasn't there. So I waved down the maintenance man and was like, hey, there's not a Bible in my room. Can you get me a Bible? So he was like, yeah, I'll get you one. I'll be right back. I was like, what, you guys not keep Bibles in the nightstand anymore? And he's like, no, we stopped doing that. I got boxes full of Bibles in the maintenance closet. So I was like, give me those boxes. I'll pay you for those boxes. You know what I mean?
I got a lot of praying to do today.
Yeah. And that particular guy actually, like, I think I gave him like $100 for all these boxes of Bibles or something. Mm-hmm. And so I got him in the room. There's probably like 5 boxes. I went through, took all the blank pages, and then just went through the boxes in the dumpster. You know what I mean? So he noticed that, and he was like, I remember he was like asking me, like, why the fuck did you just pay me for these Bibles and then throw them away? It didn't make sense to him. But yeah, so we started basically paying maintenance men at different hotels to bring me boxes of Bibles, which that definitely increased the production. So this guy was going up to Cleveland.
How many bills could you fit into one Bible page?
Like your typical Bible, about like this that you'd find in a hotel room or something. It's just one side per page. So like, because I'm printing the front and the back. So like those, there's usually like about 4 pages in those little Bibles. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's worth $200. So it's not that you needed to get lots of them, but there's other specific types of Bibles, like for instance the Jeremiah Study Bible. Specifically, it's a study Bible, so the back was full of blank pages to take notes on. It said like notes at the top, and it was just like 30 blank pages, and the Bible was probably this big.
Notes.
So
we're printing notes, all right.
Yeah, exactly. So you could fit probably 3 sides, like a front, a back, and another front on one page, and there was, say, 40 blank pages. So, what is that? 40 times 3, 120. I mean, the one Bible's worth about $10,000.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, like, if you go into a Barnes & Noble, for instance, there's probably 2 or 3 copies of the Jeremiah Study Bible, and get those, and then, random other ones. I mean, like I said, a bookstore, you could probably get about, say, at least 50,000 worth of paper from one bookstore. Okay. But most cities only have like 2 bookstores in the city. Right. You know what I mean? So you go to Chattanooga, but you hit the 2 bookstores there, that's $100,000 out of Chattanooga. You go to Atlanta, there's, say, 3 bookstores there. There's 150 out of Atlanta. But it comes to a point to where I went to Atlanta, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Sevierville, Lexington, Cleveland. You just, because when you're busting these bills, you also want to travel around. I think the number that I spent in Knoxville was like $380,000 throughout businesses in Knoxville, which that I got a little ballsy.
You spent $380,000. Not just on Bibles, but like spending the money.
No, just shopping. But
wow.
to convert that money into real money, you'd go shopping. You'd buy something for $10-$20.
What kind of shit were you buying?
Oh, just random shit. Like at the time, I had a heroin habit, so it was converted to cash, and then I'd buy Visa cards to pay for the hotel rooms, and had some designer bags, jewelry, shit like that. I mean, nothing was no like Ferraris. But, no. I mean, just living comfortably.
Right.
For sure.
Wow. So how did this guy eventually set you up?
So one day he told me, he was like, oh, I bought this, it was, I think, a 2009 Charger or something. I guess one of these dudes that was buying dope from him was like, oh, he sold him a car for, like, I think it was $500 and an 8-ball of heroin. For a 2009 Charger. So I was like, bro, that's a stolen car, 100%. He's like, no, the guy gave me a title. He's like, it's all good. I'm going to go register it. I was like, bro, you bought that from a junkie for $500, bro. It's a fucking stolen car. Promise you. Either way, he was convinced because he had the title. The guy has the title who sold it to him. So I was supposed to go up to Cleveland with him we had maintenance guy that was going to give us some Bibles up there. I was going to, bust bills throughout the city while he re-upped on some dope. But like the day before we were supposed to leave, I ended up getting arrested for a failure to appear, like a little warrant I had. So I got arrested the next day, bond out, but he already went without me, I guess. So we were renting a house together, and I was kind of, printing the money out of the back, and he was selling dope out of the front, and we shared this house. So I bond out of jail on that little charge, and I go home, and his little runner chick, Summer, she basically said, like, oh, he went up to Cleveland without you. So I was like, okay, whatever, you know what I mean? And then she basically said, like, don't, he told me not to tell you this, but he got arrested up in Cleveland. So instantly I was like, why would he tell you not to tell me? Like, that's sketchy, it's a red flag for sure. And I knew at first I figured it was probably that car. I'm like, I knew that car was stolen, you know what I mean? But I also knew he was going up there with, he had $20,000 in real cash and $5,000 in my bills at the time. So I knew, whether it was because of the car or not, he most likely got caught with, counterfeit money or heroin, one of the two, And, by him telling her not to tell me that he got arrested is, in my mind, he's cooperating, and he's going to set me up or attempt to at some point. So, I got, my computers and printers, and I had ventilation fans to spray the lacquer indoors. It would suck it out the window.
You had like a whole like production studio.
Counterfeiting little setup, you know what I mean? But when I found out he was locked up, I got everything and went to a hotel. I was like, fuck this, I'm leaving. Which I'm glad I did, but ultimately I got arrested anyway. But so I'm staying in a hotel. And this other group of Detroit guys put in like an order for like $6,000. So my plan was to wake up, make this $6,000 to give these Detroit guys. My wife at the time was gonna go shopping, whatever. It was just like a normal day every day. And this dude E, the guy from Cleveland, calls me. So he basically was like, "Hey, I've got that box of Bibles for you." And I was like, well, just hold on to him. I don't want to meet up right now. You know what I mean? Like, I assume he's cooperating. And he basically said, I was like, wow, you just got arrested. Why didn't you tell me that? You know what I mean? Like, why did you tell Summer not to tell me, bro? You're acting fucking sketchy. Mm-hmm. And, he had this story, which kind of made sense, but I still didn't trust him. He basically said, yeah, that car was stolen. I got arrested for it. The money I was going to use to buy the dope, I had to bond out with, so I couldn't re-up in Cleveland. So now I'm back in Knoxville, and I need to re-up. Can you get me like 700 grams from your Detroit people? Which, like, I don't sell, I didn't really sell a lot of drugs like that. You know what I mean? So for him to ask me that over the phone after he just got out of jail, like, it was a huge red flag. And he's trying to set me up for things that I don't even do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing the counterfeiting thing. So basically, like, he asked me that, and I was like, listen, bro, like, we're not having this conversation, especially not over the phone. What are you talking about? You're the drug dealer. I'm not. Goodbye. So I hang up. I guess they GPS pinged my phone, though, to my location. So they didn't know which room I was in, but they knew that I was in the extended stay hotel in West Knoxville. So, like I said, that next morning, my wife's going to go shopping. I was going to, print $6,000 for this guy. So they leave, and I didn't know this at the time, but I guess as soon as my wife got in the car and started to pull out, they swarmed her, the police. It was the KPD, Organized Crime Unit, Drug Task Force, Cleveland Secret Service, Knoxville Secret Service, multiple different agencies. So basically, but I didn't know this. My wife just left to go shopping, so I'm in there hanging paper, spraying it, cutting, printing, all this stuff, and I hear a knock on the door. and I, looked through the peephole, and it's just black, like somebody's thumb was over the peephole. So at first I was thinking like, oh, these is like maybe somebody's trying to rob me or something. I didn't know, but I look out the window and I saw a line of Knox County sheriffs. You know what I mean? So
Oh, fuck.
yeah, I go to flush some of the money that I was printing. I threw a bunch in the toilet and flushed it. Went down, threw a bunch more in, went to flush it, and they shut the water off because they thought I had a bunch of kilos of drugs in there and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So there was a bunch of one-sided, like unfinished counterfeit money all in the toilet and fucking.
So the toilet wouldn't flush.
It did the first time, but the second time, I guess, no good. But I mean, at that point, I was already in there with, I'm in a hotel room. There's nowhere to go.
What kind of shit did you have in there? You had printers in there?
Yeah, printers, computers, all the different sprays, my little glass light board to like cut everything on and line everything up with, and the worst part was the files on the computer. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
All those serial numbers, I changed every serial number. So when they got the computer as evidence, that basically linked me to all these different serial numbers that they found throughout the country. Yeah, so that was a wrap at that point.